Okay, sorry about that. We just had a little technical glitch there. Danny's fixed up. Stuart Told from New Zealand's out on course now in the top 20. Stuart's obviously one of our competitors in the test match as well, and him and Diesel have made it into the top 20 in the Supreme competition. So we wish him all the best as Diesel comes down. Just about got the sheep at Stuart's toes. Just a little trot down the hill there. Diesel's there to cover it. He's a uniquely marked dog. You see a lot of white on his left side when he turns around. On his right shoulder he's got more black on that side, I think. I could be wrong, I can't see his right shoulder at the moment. Got them in a good position there for Stuart to take off heading towards the gap. Up the ground they come. Just dropped inside line of the course. Stuart's keeping an eye on them. So I think we've got it worked out now. We've got the quality back on the broadcast. Stuart comes along, kicks Diesel out on that clockwise run. Just hopped over the marker there. Just shows you these dogs, even on the move, they've got good spatial awareness. He was concentrating on the sheep, but he knew that little marker was in his way, so he just hopped over it as the sheep pop up. Diesel comes around downhill there just to keep him on course. Remember, if the sheep go through before you get to that set, you've got to rework the obstacle, so Stuart's got him covered. Around he comes. Stuart's approaching the set there. Sheep are just having a look. They duck through the inside of Stuart in the obstacle. So he's going to have to bring them back now. This will start chewing up some time. It hasn't taken too much time to get to this point, but if this happens again and again, of course, it starts to eat into your time. Through they go, clear. Now we can get them back around, but they're taking that outside of Stuart, that line around. He's lining them up again, maybe to go through in reverse. Stuart knows they're going to look downhill again. Just a little barrel there. Here comes Diesel. Got that covered. Quick on his feet. Got him turned. Through they go. Nice work. You see Diesel's just got that unique style in his gait when he runs. Holds his head up high. Just on the walk at the moment. Strong on his feet. We're away to the race downhill. Clouds are starting to come back in now as well, looking down over Geelong. This is guarding that outside line well. Sheep are pretty much centre course at the moment. We haven't really identified a troublemaker in these three. You can see these sheep, Diesel's fast movement, they've all three put their head down and he's in that blind spot. He just appears again quickly and they sort of take the smallest fright off him. We're approaching the last stage of that carry down of the race. Diesel's trying to steer them around. It's just swinging about a little bit. Wind's picking up as well. They're having a look. They're in. Got to be careful Diesel doesn't stop them. One's still in there. They're out now, clear. Stuart can turn to his left and start thinking about moving towards the bridge when he's happy with the position of the sheep. Wind's really picking up now. Looks like it might even be bringing in a little bit of rain in the distance. We'll see if Stuart gets around before that rain comes. Here we go. Moving off to the third obstacle now. Judges start to position themselves for this next part of the course also. The wind really is picking up. I think it's a bit of a southerly at the moment. Looking at the flags, on the casting peg. I really don't want to walk back to the caravan later. I think it's going to be pretty cold. Don't worry, I'll struggle through. Stuart's making his way to the bridge. Sheep are on course, been in a good position for this second half of Stuart's run. Sheep have just got a little bit hungry. They're just dragging the chain now, and as Stuart walks away from him, that gap's increasing. As they come close to the bridge, the train's escaping Geelong, looking for some warmer weather. One sheep looking back down the track. Diesel's got them heading towards the racetrack that's next to the showground here. Up the bridge they go. Well done. Saving a little bit of time there. Just pausing on the bridge. Diesel's coming in. Still there. Diesel's coming in closer and closer. Up the ramp he comes. Still not moving. One's off. 2 and 3. Number 3 had a little stumble. Out comes Diesel. Back on course, and Stuart's heading up to the pen. See, the baked potato person's got the shop open now, so I'll be coming down and having a conversation with you later on. Stuart's coming up. Got about 2/3 of the way to go to the pen. As Anthony passes in the background and get his position to judge the pen. Ken Robertson's taking up position as well. It's been a fairly nice run with Stuart and Diesel. They're coming off the first round with a score of 86.5. Our last competitor, Bill Davidson, for his second run ran a 93.5, giving them a total of 181 points. It's all about Stuart and Diesel at the moment, just battling with the wind and the will of that single sheep, just moving forward without his mates, with no regard for their safety whatsoever. Moving forward as a group now. That looks a little bit better. That wind is howling now. Stuart's taken up position to try and finish his course with another pen. It's looking good. Having a little drop forward. Diesel comes around. Yeah, they're around the outside. I didn't see that coming. Just going to have to just gently push them around, and hopefully they'll pause in front of the pen. Quick on his feet, this dog, isn't he? Just having a little look. Just getting Diesel in. Oh, almost a little bump. They're thinking about it. They're moving forward. In they go. 1, 2, 3. They're not settled yet. 3's out. 3's back in. Stuart's going for it. Diesel's helping him. And they've got him. Well done. Very well done with this weather picking up as well. We'll get a score very shortly. Here comes Scott Smith and Pink. Scott and Pink from Dubbo in New South Wales. We're both in the same dog club together there, so we've got our trial coming up in a couple of weeks. Come and talk to us if you want to come along. The set, the sheep will come out. Earlier this year, Scott and Pink had the honour of winning national championships in Canberra. Congratulations to them both. Pink's away, running out downhill. Big tall dog she is. Fast on her feet. Sheep are just walking onto her a little bit there right now. Just a little slice and a bump. So we come downhill from that original centre position they started out at. Scott knows what to do. Bring him up in a straight line from there. Scott's using his whistle to work Pink. We can hear it upstairs here as well, even through the windows. Scott and Pink come in to this top 20 with a score of 89 from the first round. See if they can match it or better it. It's just coming in gently on the sheep. You see she's just lightning on her feet when she moves. Like a couple of dogs earlier, she's very tall. She could probably just about go nose to nose with the sheep if she walked up that close to them. The sun's trying to come out here at Geelong Showground at the moment, but this wind won't let up. Coming up from the sort of kind of south, maybe southwest. Trot up the inside, try and lean back in the dog. Pink's there. Not today, guys. I need to go down to Scott first. You see the sheep leaning on each other as they're just trying to trot away. Turned around again just to look at Pink. And she comes. Just having a little pick now. The sheep at the back's just got his head up. The sheep in the middle's looking over his mate. There we go. Roll forward. A little bit at a time. Just leaning on the dog a little bit. Just having a little bit of trouble trying to steer them at the moment. They won't take their eyes off it just for the time being. Scott's asking her to come in just gently as she goes. So if you haven't seen this form of dog trialling before, this is what we call a supreme course. Once the sheep are let out, they have to be brought down the handler in a straight line, but then the next part of that is when they reach the handler, they must pass that casting peg on their left. All three sheep must go down that left hand, past that marker on their left. So the position they occupy right now on the ground, you can see that's correct. And then to be considered delivered, there's an invisible line on the ground. It's identified with a marker that the sheep are just passing just on their right hand side. We call that the balance marker. We're moving along the course. First obstacle is a gap. Left hand turn down to a race. Another left hand turn towards the bridge. And then finally the pen, once the bridge is completed. Scott's on his way now, moving up to the gap. Sheep are on course, looking nice so far. The other thing of note with the Supreme course is the handler, like Scott's doing right now, must walk along that line, the left-hand line of the course that's marked out. Once you start walking, you can't stop until you reach the next obstacle. So Scott's moving up quietly, just holding on to his hat in this wind. It's really starting to blow across the ground now. The sheep is still moving nice and quietly. Here goes Pink, she's fast. Sheep is still there, Scott's still moving. Getting Pink to balance up and just move onto the sheep, bring them onto him. As Scott's moving towards the gap, we can hear some sirens in the background. Hopefully everyone's okay. These sheep are okay as well at the moment. Just having a little feed. The sheep at the back's just got its head up, but it doesn't seem to be too worried. We saw one earlier on with somebody else's run, and the concern was it was going to be a troublesome sheep, and it proved that all the way around the run. But we're going to concentrate on Scott and Pink at the moment. You see Scott's blazer just flapping under his right arm there. His wing is very strong today, or for this run in particular. Little hop and a skip from Pink, just pull the sheep up there. They might be just outside that line, they are. Just come out the top side of the course now. They're just thinking about maybe taking the path around the top side of that obstacle. Pink's there to hold them up. Scott's just walking along to the gap. You might notice Scott seems to be walking slowly. One of the other rules is that you may have to maintain the pace that you set off with. So Scott took off at that pace from the casting peg, so he has to maintain that pace all the way to that set that he just stepped into now. So now he's going to get those sheep back in front of that obstacle with Pink's help. So just dancing around left, coming to the right again. The sheep are trying to make a little break outside the top of that obstacle. Pink's there. Scott's concentrating. He's not using his whistle now, he's using his voice commands. The sheep are in closer and the dog's in closer. They're in a good spot there, but trying to run away. Downhill they go. Looks like the weather might be coming in too. I can see Scott's got his hat cover on. Let's hope his blazer's waterproof as well, as the sheep come a little bit close to the obstacle now. They look like they're in a good position, but they're not really committing to looking at the centre of the obstacle where they have to go through. That first sheep's having a bit of a look. He knows he can get through now. Come on guys, follow me. Through they go. Here comes Pink. Put a little block on him. Stop them going forward. Scott's just going to position them before he takes off. Just a little bit of anxiety on the sheep. They're just still not quite settled there. You can see as they're moving, they're sort of leaning on the centre sheep, the two outside fellas. They just don't appear to be super relaxed just yet. But Pink's holding them well. She's got a lot of presence the way she moves. She does seem to be kind to the sheep at the moment. See the great condition Pink's in. Scott keeps his dogs in tip-top shape, helped by the Hypro grain-free that he feeds. Sheep just trotted forward a little bit, still on course. Pink's just holding them up, just letting Scott catch up. Just ever so slightly leaning on that outside line. Now they're drifting back to the right as they approach the race. They might have to throw an anchor chain on Pink if this wind keeps up. About 6 minutes to go. It's approaching the halfway mark. There's a little bit of time taken on that delivery, but here we are about halfway now at the race. 6 minutes is achievable from this point if everything starts to flow. You can see the energy level in the sheep just coming up a little bit, matching Pink's movement. As they enter the race, moving through, Pink heads on that anti-clockwise run just to pull them up, start steering them back for the approach to the bridge. We're walking into a headwind now. Once Scott takes off, he'll probably tuck his head down a bit. With that big hat, he doesn't want that flying off and upsetting the sheep either. Clouds are starting to come in from that southerly side of the ground over the race course that's next to us. Scott's off. Sheep are coming with him. He's just nearly got herself caught in the race there for a moment. She's out. We're having gusts over 50 k's an hour. We just had a look on the info on the phone. It gets a little bit higher. Might blow the milk out of your coffee, so put a lid on it. Pink covers that little attempted break down the hill. About halfway to the bridge now. Just outside the course there. They come on course. We just got a little bit of a trot up. Pink comes around just to get on their shoulder. Sheep are just moving forward with Scott. That's okay. They look good there. They're looking at the bridge. That's what we want. They just turned away now. Maybe just the slightest bump from Pink is coming in that position just as Scott was approaching. But they'll have to deal with it now. Outside that bottom side of the bridge, come back around the front to put the hammer down a little bit. Pink's there to stop them. I start to hear that rain come back in as well. You start to hear a few drops on the tin roof above us and behind us. Let's keep our fingers crossed for Scott that he can get finished before it comes in proper. Remember, later on today, after this top 20 is finished, we'll be having a lunch break and a course change, and then into the test match, round 2 of the Waylego Cup, Australia v New Zealand. Wish all the competitors best of luck. Sheep are looking at the bridge now. Up they go, 1, 2, 3. They're on the ramp. They're moving across. Pink's there holding the ground. Scott's watching carefully. 1, 2, 3. They're off. Pink's around the bottom side of the bridge to pick them up. Scott's just turning around, preparing himself to move up to the bridge. Probably got 2 minutes to go, so he needs to concentrate. I'm pretty certain Scott carries a timer as well. I know if it was me, I'd just be walking faster, but that's me. I'd be panicking. But Scott's a cool customer. He's been trialling for quite a while. Started trialling a long time ago. Just had a break when the kids were an age where they were playing sport and that sort of stuff, but he's back into it now and both his kids have moved out of home. Pink's up the outside. Round she comes just to cover those sheep, wanting to come down the inside of the ground there. It's right in front of Scott. You can see him being a bit ginger there. Really nice spot there, coming up about halfway to the bridge now. Time's ticking away. There is a little bit of pressure on Scott. Minute to go. A little bit of pressure on Pink as well. Sheep don't really care about that. They're just trying to make it difficult. In a great spot there. Scott's just about heading to the set. Couple of metres to go. Just leaning towards Scott. Are they looking in? They are. Walking Pink in. 2 are in, 3 are nearly in. They're in. Turn around. He's going for the gate. He clearly does have a timer on. Come on, Scott. Well done, mate. Got there just in time, I think. We'll wait to hear back from the judges. Coming up now is our second New Zealand competitor in the top 20. Scott, Hunter and Lucy. Wish them luck. Flags up. Gates are open. Sheep don't want to come out. Now they are. Just waiting for that last sheep to meet his mates. They've hit the spot. Time on. Here comes Lucy. Coming out to the right. Rangy, searchy cast. And whistled on by Scott. Coming around, just approaching the fence. Good deep cast. Stop signal from Scott. Rear sheep's looking at the dog. The other two haven't really noticed it yet. Big, strong built dog she is too. Coming in gently, turn that rear sheep, might influence the other two to move forward. Scott manages Berwyn Station, a couple hours north of Queenstown in the North Otago district with his wife Carla and the kids. Lucy's a 6-year-old border collie that Scott bred at home, which is good enough to win the South Island Shorthead and Yard title at Blenheim this year. So well done, Lucy. And here she is now in the Test match, competing against Australia on our home ground this year. Next year we'll send a team to New Zealand, but we're not there yet. So let's worry about this competition here in Geelong. Australia's got the advantage at the moment, winning the first round. We'll talk about that later. Scott and Lucy are competing for the Supreme Cup at the moment, and they're doing a great job. These merino type sheep might be a little bit different from the Romney ewes and Angus cattle they got at home. She's doing a great job on them today, as she did yesterday, clearly, to get in this top 20 runoff. This is the first time Scott's been given the honour to put on the black blazer. As we know, there's a lot of strong competition over there in New Zealand. A lot of extremely talented handlers. So to get on the plane and come over here with your 3 teammates is a great achievement. As the sheep come closer to Scott, Lucy's just covering a little bit downhill there. Sheep do seem somewhat content with the dog at the moment. They're not too offended by her. They don't seem too nervous by her. Or nervous of her, sorry. She comes in, she's got her tail up. It's interesting watching all the dogs work. They've got all their own little sort of quirks. Some hold their tail up, some hold their tail down, some don't even know what to do with their tail, so they forget about it. Slightest bump, they're coming around, just about delivered over that line, but not quite yet. 1, 2, 3, they are now. Scott's turning around, just following them. Just trying to get them set before he commits to walking. Once he starts, he can't stop until he gets to the gap. He's got them positioned fairly well in front of him. Just getting him on centre course. He's away now, hands in pockets. Like we've said a few times now, if on this course you can't help your dog except through whistle, voice or hand signals to command your dog, but you're not allowed to influence the sheep. You've got to get the dog to do all the work. And when Scott has his run this afternoon on the Trans-Tasman course, those middle 2 sections, that's where the work from the handler begins as well, whilst moving your sheep, but not on this course, not on this Australian Supreme course. Coming up the ground, about halfway to the gap now. Sheep are moving quite nicely. Lucy's conducting herself very well around the sheep. Just a little turn back there. Send Lucy down the inside. Just pull her up there. Walking up the line now. Turn that one sheep. 2, 3. It's going to lean on that line and go down. They do. It's just been a little bit difficult. It's bounced off course once or twice either side. Even from that position, it looked like they had a little peek at the gap from there. Lined up to it, coming forward. This looks good. I was just having a look around. There's the outside, top side towards us here in the commentary area. Got his head down now. They're in a nice position. But literally and figuratively, they're chewing up a bit of time while they're eating the grass. Nearly on the toe. Just hopping out the end there. Easy there to bring him back in. Scott's away. Picking up the pace a little bit. Just cutting off Scott in his walk. Just stepping outside the marker there, back on course. And you're going to try it on the opposite side, see what Lucy's got. She's there to bring him back in. You can see that pendulum just starting to swing a little bit now. The energy's picking up from the sheep. Lucy's just kind of inside that bubble where the pressure is, but she needs to come in as well to get those sheep on course. So it's a real juggling act for the handler to manage what the sheep like, what the sheep don't like. Sometimes you have to do what the sheep don't like to do what you want to do. And right now it's getting down to the gap as neatly as you can. Sorry, the race as neatly as you can. Putting a bit of weight on the dog on that outside line on the right hand side of the course there. Popped out again. We've got a great view here from the commentary box. We're just about sitting on the outside line, so you can see clearly when they're in and out as they move forward to the obstacle now. Lucy's just going to have to lean on them a bit more. We'll roll around to the front and have a look. Are they committed yet? I think they are. Now they're going through. Start moving down to the bridge now. Almost feels like the weather's just eased up for the time being. It's probably still cold out there, but the wind's died down a little bit. Just feels like the rain's just moved away for the time being. It's cleared up over Geelong a little bit now. And down to our south, or our left as we look at it across the ground. Scott stepping out towards the bridge. Sheep are coming along nicely on course at the moment. Lucy's just holding the position at the rear, following on. Just picking up their pace. Here they go, straight past the bridge. They're just going to have to get into them a little bit, get them back on course, back in front of the bridge and hopefully over. They're not there yet. Sometimes talking to my friends, they ask about sheepdog trialling. I say, I love it, but sometimes it can be brutal. You think you got it, but then you don't. The sheep have always got something else to say. We'll roll down the bottom side of the bridge. Starting to cut into the time of their run as well. Just got to be aware of that. He's got a great deal of experience trialling in New Zealand. Same thing, running against the clock as well, like we are here. Just putting a little challenge on the dog at the moment. So here we go. Good turn from Lucy. Up in the bridge they go. 1, 2, 3, and rolled uphill. Just got to take that little bit of help from the sheep as he starts his way up to the pen. About 6 minutes to go. Making great progress time-wise. Stuart's just looking over his shoulder. The sheep are trying to make a break on the inside. They just slipped in. He's whistling up Lucy now just to get in position, hold the sheep. They're approaching the pen. Just made a little break up the ground in front of Stuart to get there. Lucy's holding him. Beg your pardon, Scott. And she comes to start the approach for the pen. They've got plenty of time. There's a little bust around the outside. Starting to put a little bit of pressure on the competitors on course at the moment. But they still have a good bit of time left. Gently walking in. Sheep on that outside rear of the pen at the moment. So we can call that the southeast corner of the pen. Had a look at seams. A good spot there. So's Lucy. And it's just starting to pick up in the background as we at this closing stage of their run. Here she comes. Just covering that little attempt to escape out to the right. Tucked it back in. Rolling around, they having a look, in they go. Stage 1 complete. Going for the gate now. And he's got it. Well done, Scott. Well done, Lucy. We'll get a score shortly. Out on course now, Ben Miller from New Zealand with his dog King. Sheep are out. Ben's the youngest member of the team from New Zealand, 24 years of age, great achievement. Clearly a very good handler. Talking to Ben yesterday about whistles, he said he chews them. So he's got a good plastic one that he uses. Some of the other ones he ends up chewing and breaking, so hopefully he won't break the whistle on this run as King comes in to start his approach on the sheep. One's turning, the rear sheep's had a look, just not sure just yet. Ben was working in the Hawke's Bay area as a shepherd and he's gone back to the family farm up in the Rakia Gorge in the Canterbury area. A bit of a challenge here for the dog, landing on him. You can see that single sort of separated from the other two sheep. If they get these sheep moving on course, I dare say this is going to be a challenge throughout. It's already started early on. King's done very well to control himself and not get away with too much at the moment. Just turning the sheep, and Troublemaker's just at the rear closest to the dog at the moment. Now they're starting to make a little bit of progress. He's still stamping his feet at the dog a little bit. Not happy with King. Look at that self-control. This one is trying to look downhill. King's on his shoulder. He's turning back in. That's better. Starting to make some forward movement now. Just a little subtle break back from that single. King's turning again. Used up 3 minutes already. You can see sometimes the sheep will just chew up some of that time by challenging your dog. Early on, you really want to win that engagement and put some authority in the relationship early. From that pick-up point, that's a long way around the course. 15 minutes can go very quickly. Just a little pause and play again. That sheep that was splitting off was actually now with his mates, but now he's turning again. King's got him back with the others, but here he is again, turning on the dog. Turn around, a little jig, a little trot. Coming along up towards Bennett. Ooh, little challenge there. Both the sheep and the dog on their rear feet. Having a little tango. Don't think there's any contact with the teeth though. King did very well. We're just about on Ben's toes now. That's great. Made some progress down. It's taken a little bit of time. It's probably kept coming on 5 minutes now. As they just go around the back of Ben on course. That's the direction they're meant to be going. King's just taking the weight from him just on this inside of the casting peg as he comes around a bit. Just coming around clockwise now. Ben's set off. King's just holding the weight at the front, and you let him open up that gate, send him around, just put a little bit of weight on from the rear. Sheep is still pausing a little bit now, they're coming on. There's a little split with all the sheep at the moment. Now they're starting to come back together. You can see that tall one on the front of the group now. He's the one that was giving the challenge earlier. He's the one that had the tango with King just a moment ago before they were delivered. Past the halfway point on the way to the gap. They've remained on course. Ben's done well concentrating. There's that little split again from that individual sheep. Just loping along on the inside of the course now. Just trying to strip a couple of points off Ben and King. He's leaning on that dog really hard at the moment too. Well done, Ben. Just watch that gap and he's going to take it. This challenge is getting more and more intense as we progress around the course. Look at him now, the cheeky bugger. He's hiding in his mates. He's put the challenge out to the dog now. He's backed off a bit, but he's not really helping anyone. So Ben might be trying to work the sheep through the gap in reverse just to get them on the correct side of the obstacle. We'll see what happens. We'll see what this single stamping sheep's going to say about it. Through they go. 1, 2, 3. Round comes King. Well spotted Ben. He nearly took him on the anti-clockwise. Changed direction quick smart just to cover that attempted break up the hill. He's got King coming in all stealth like. The sheep we're worried about's the one in the middle. His turn. They know they can get through that gap. King's on his way. Well done, Ben. Good capture, but that sheep's still thinking about it. We'll call him Tall Timmy. He's the tallest out of the three. Ben's off. Timmy's taking his mates. Going to try a little break, but King's there to cover it. Looks a little bit better, but you can see just with their body language and just how active they are when they do move. They're not quite settled yet, but they're still on course. That's what the important part of this is. Passage of the sheep. I want to see them going up that runway, if you like. And at the moment, about halfway along, they are lined up very well for the race, but we're still a fair way off it, so there's a lot of room for error at the moment, but Ben's handling them extremely well, particularly with Tall Timmy causing all the trouble today. King just... I watched him in that first round. I was really impressed, just like the way the dog moved. He's just a classy dog. I love watching him. Just the self-control he's got. A lot of dogs would have taken that challenge from the sheep, but then ended in a bit of a more physical confrontation. But King's just holding his ground, showing some courage with his sheep as well. Two smaller sheep had turned in the obstacle. Tall Timmy's still thinking about putting the challenge out on the dog. He's turned in now, walking down with his friends. Just gently coming through. King's just checking on the inside of the obstacle. They're through. Down on the anti-clockwise he goes just to meet them on the bottom part of the course near the white section of the Dog Pro banner mesh. It's Kenny Robinson's walking downwind and he's coming across his left shoulder. Now they're on their way to the bridge heading south. in a good position next to Ben there. As he walks past, King comes up. See those giant strides young Ben's taking along the ground, young fit fella like him. I can't even remember when I was 24. The sheep just leaning on Ben a little bit. They're still on course, still in good position, but King's just taking the inside line as well, take some of that weight as they move forward towards the bridge. Just a little pause from the sheep there. Tall Timmy's at the back, still thinking about maybe trying to make an escape. King's onto him. Just a little trot forward. Ben's approaching the set. The sheep appear to be just leaning towards that gap between Ben and the bridge at the moment. King's there. Just a gentle turn. There we go, one little break around the side. Great bit of stockmanship there. Great self-control from Ben as well, just to let that sheep come back rather than force it and maybe let his mates escape around the other way. Kept King on the job. They're looking at the bridge now. Up they go. 1, 2. Number 3's taking the ramp as well. Kings just have to put a little bit of weight on them. Big, strong, courageous dog he is. Oh! Big challenge from the sheep there as it came down hard on King. He defended himself well. All three have come back down, but he's back in. It hasn't put him off at all. What a terrific dog he is. The wind's starting to pick up. A little bit of rain might be coming in as well during this later part of King and Ben's run. He's got them back trying again. That looks better. Have they committed to it or have they stopped? Just a little pause at the end of the bridge. King's up there to meet them, just to help them off. Just open up the gate for them. There you go, fellas. Away you go. I'll come out and meet you around the other side, he says. Just lining up now as the rain's starting to come in. The flags are picking up as well. We can hear that wind starting to come through across our position where we are, bringing some of that rain as well. It could be a cool, damp test match, but we won't worry about that just yet. We've still got a few runs to go in the top 20 to find our finalists for the Supreme Championship tomorrow. King comes around. Sheep are just coming on the inside of Ben. Not going to make it easy. Little challenge on the bridge. Game's not over yet. Tall Timmy's looking at the dog again, saying, is that the best you got? And it sure is. Here he comes. Put him on course. Just running uphill on the inside there, King. He's got hold of him. Ben's walking through. You can see Ben sort of tucking his head in against the wind in the last part of his run. As seagulls are coming across the ground. They've got a tailwind. They don't have to flap their wings much at the moment. Don't care about the seagulls today. Just a little canter up the ground. Just come inside Ben again. He's going to need to get on top of that to stop dropping those little simple points. It's easy for us to say from up here. We're not out in those conditions. We're not taking the pressure from the sheep. Tall Timmy still doesn't want to eat. His two mates are having a little nibble on the way to the pen. Ben's just about to approach the set. King's still on that inside line with Ben. Just taking the weight. The sheep are looking forward, but they're still, well, they're just near that 9 metre marker, so about 9 metres away, 7 metres now from the pen, just moving in. Tall Timmy's in the centre there at the moment. One of his smaller mates just turning around. They're having a look, they're moving in. Good pen there, just keep King off that edge of the bubble. Ben's going for the gate. King's just saying, how do we go, boss? Let's just close the gate first. Well done, team. That's Ben and King from New Zealand with another pen. We'll get their score shortly.
So it's Ben Simmons from South Australia taking over in the commentary for a minute, and we've got Damien Jones coming out to the peg now with his Tasmanian dog, McGlashan's Mist. And it's a pretty suitable name because it is pretty misty out there right now. It's not great conditions as we come into these last few runs of the top 20. Just waiting on signal from the judge to release these sheep now. And we'll get this trial underway. So Mist is at the peg and ready to go. Flag is up and the sheep are coming out. So sheep coming out, taking up the position now. Just waiting on the judge to be ready that they're in spot and he'll begin this run. And we're away, and Mist has begun the outrun now on the right hand side. The sheep have begun creeping up the ground already. They're heading into the wind today as the wind is coming from the south. And you can hear the rain coming in now as we're standing up in the commentary box. It's not great conditions out there today, ladies and gentlemen, for sheepdog trialling, but we've had some great runs this morning so far. So Mist just taking up a position behind the sheep now and just letting the sheep drift a little bit out towards the left-hand side of the ground, but she's got them turned now. Sheep just asking a few questions this morning as of the dogs. They're a little bit heavier to move and a bit more prepared to stand up, and we've seen some confrontation already in the top 20 this morning. So Mist has a bit of a job now just to introduce herself to this sheep and begin moving him up the ground. We've seen already this morning that the sheep are prepared to push back past the dog early and to challenge them and head back for the release, but Mist has got them moving the right way now. Just slightly drifting back down towards the right hand side of the ground as she goes, but it's good to get that first movement forwards in this early stage of the trial. See that sheep at the front just stamping his foot a little bit there now, just a little mini standoff here. Just wagging his tail there, willing those sheep to move forwards, and a little bust up and they've moved forwards now. We're looking to just try to keep those sheep moving ahead, not really giving them too much chance to turn around and look at the dog today. As you can see, another one steps out towards the dog and the dog's getting a little bit excited there, tail wagging away. But again, Mist's been able to turn them well and getting them headed the right way back up towards Damien. So nearly approaching the peg now. The sheep have got a bit of a run up as they get towards the back of the handler there. We still have to come round now and just roll them round the peg, and if sheep have gone up to say hello to the judge and just make sure he's on the job today. Judging today out there we've got Ken Robinson and Anthony Ireland. Sheep really pulling onto that fence now, but Mist has been able to get through them and pull them off that fence and start them heading towards the gap. So it's difficult conditions out there now, and I think Damien would be pretty happy with the start so far. We've been able to get round the peg fairly tightly and not do too many points, just drifting outside of the corridor there now. But Mist is quick to put them back inside. You see that one out the front now is just looking for a way away from the dog, but so far Mist has been able to cover him and just sort of doing a bit of a zigzag up the ground from across the corridor, but again Mist has had to go and retrieve those sheep from the inside and try to set them up for a straight walk for the rest of the way through the gap. And again, that one lead sheep breaks out and just forces Mist to have to come inside the cover. That's left them sitting in a nice position as Damien approaches his set, and Mist is in a good position to be able to roll around in a moment and turn these sheep through the gap. You see that lead sheep, seeing the gap in the fence there, and he's taking it on. Mist has been able to balance him all the way around and keep him on course, which is really nicely done, and they begin their walk to the race. It's got them in a great position now for this walk to the race, and we've seen throughout this trial the sheep are leaning towards the northern side of the ground, and you can see the weight is coming onto the outside corridor, and Mist is covering that well so far. Got these sheep walking beautifully right down the middle of the corridor now, and you can see that clearly through these amazing pictures that we've got here. It's great camera work here at this Supreme trial. The film crew's done a fantastic job to bring this live coverage to you. So after a little check down the outside of corridor, Mist has got them set nicely now in front of the race. She'll have to duck around the end and just turn them back in towards the opening. It's hard to see from this angle whether the sheep are just past the edge. I think they might be. So Mist will just need to bring them back to the mouth and hopefully roll them around that corner. Around they go, but unfortunately that lead sheep again has just taken a few quick steps and gotten away from the mouth of the obstacle, so Mist will be bringing them back again now from the right hand side. It's a nice tight arc there from Mist to bring him around the corner, and it's got 2 leaders through, picked up the last one, and away they go. They're headed for the bridge now. So with plenty of time still on the clock, Damien and Mist are making great progress through the course. They've been able to keep it fairly tidily as well. It's been a good run to watch so far. And there you see those sheep. They're heading back up to the south end of the ground. They're walking quite nicely there now. They're not turning around too much to challenge Mist, so she seems to have gotten on top of things there. A little bit of a trot up as they approach the bridge, but shortly Damien will be taking his space in the set and preparing to get those sheep over. Just a bit of a run around now. They've picked up a bit of energy in just the last few seconds, and Mist has had to go and pick them up from the end of the bridge and try now just to roll these around. If she's quick enough, she might get there. She's just not quite, and just tucked one around the other side, so she'll try again. Just getting a little bit busy there and taking that sheep round the end of the obstacle. So Damien will be looking to just settle things down soon, but again they go past the obstacle. And we've got a bit of a run up there. That lead sheep is not interested in looking up the bridge. But now we have a chance. So Mist finally back into a good position and able to start working these sheep just to turn their eyes up towards the opening and up the ramp and see the exit at the other end. Once you can get one to look, it's often pretty easy to get them over this bridge. You just need that one to look in the first place. Still got them staring the wrong way, and a bit of a challenge on the dog now. Again, Mist responds with tail wagging, and again they've just bubbled out and around the mouth. So with about 6 minutes to go here, Mist is just trying to get back on top of things here. It's a bit of a run on with that lead sheep again. That's the same one that doesn't really want to play the game. Just happy to lead out and roll around these obstacles and leave the other two behind. And that's a pretty tricky situation because Mist has got to cover the one that's running, but also keep an eye on the other two, and still try to keep the group together. You see these great shots here at the bridge. We can see this challenge that's taking place on the side of the obstacle now, and again Mist has another breakaway that she's got to go and catch, and it's another chance to bring these sheep back to the front of the obstacle and try again, but again he turns away and just at the last minute and heads down the side of the obstacle. So it's been getting pretty frustrating out there now for Damien and for Mist. It's just hard to get control of these three now. They've learned a few tricks, and it's going to get difficult now unless they can get a bit of a break and get them facing the right way. So again, they're set in front of the bridge, but again, they're facing the wrong way. They're looking out to the dog, and sheep won't go where they haven't seen. So if they haven't had a chance to look up the bridge yet, there's not a lot of hope they're going to go over them at this stage. So Mist will just need to turn them around and give them a chance to have a look. All the while, just need to hang on to them and make sure they don't get out of the mouth of that bridge again. Some great work by Mist here just to gently bring them up. And just hopefully get one to turn around and have a look. But all eyes are on the dog right now. They're just watching that dog, making sure the dog's not going to come in at them, and they're setting themselves up for another standoff to the dog. Got a few just starting to turn around now, just starting to have a look. We've got one up the ramp. So if Mist can just keep a little bit of pressure on here and just keep those sheep looking up the right way, and unfortunately again that one challenge has come out, and Mist has had to dive in there just to keep him under control and defend herself, and again she'll have to begin to reset things from the mouth of the obstacle, and again all the sheep are facing towards her. And once again we have another breakaway. These sheep just don't look like they want to play the game on this bridge. It's been some great work by Mist to hold them in and keep the pressure on. We've seen some great strength, but the sheep haven't cooperated at all for it. So we're back in position again in front of the bridge. Time is ticking away. We only about 2 minutes left on the clock, so things are getting pretty desperate, and Damien will be keen to get over these bridges as soon as he can. We've got a leader. I thought we had a leader for just a second, but he backed out. We've got a lot of busyness going there. We have two up on the panel, up on the platform. But this last one, will he go? Up he goes. We've got three on the platform. Mist applying a little bit of pressure there, and 1, 2, 3 off they jump. Fantastic work from Mist. Just enough time to get to the pan, and you'll see Damien really stride out to get there now. So Mist bringing them back on course now. Sheep have got plenty of run in them, so it'll be a tight race to the pen. And it'll be a matter of getting things calmed down once they get there to get these sheep looking inside the obstacle. Sun's just coming out now, and it's actually looking pretty nice out there. When the sun comes out, it's not too bad, but as soon as those clouds come overhead, it gets pretty cold pretty quick out here today. I think those sheep have just come inside Damien there now, but Mist is covering this way and working with plenty of depth to give those sheep a chance to have a look down the obstacle. Mist is in good position now to cover both sides. She's going to have to quickly come across and grab that inside post, but she was a bit slow to do so. The sheep have gone past the obstacle. Time's really starting to get away. We've got about 30 seconds left to get these in the pen. It's plenty of time if things go well. But it's been a bit of a challenge this last couple of minutes for Mist out there now. So probably one last shot at things. Needs to bring them up and around this gate and be able to slide them in real fast. And again, we've got a standoff here. The sheep are staring her down and Mist is having to stand up very strong just to hold them. They've found some cover in there behind Damien, and it's going to take a big effort for Mist to get them from here. And there goes time. Well, it was a great effort from Damien and Mist. It was a good effort. They've been really tough this morning, these sheep, and they're prepared to challenge the dog.
Premium because it's just great nutrition for the dogs and gives them plenty of stamina for their work on the farm and keeps their coats and everything else in great condition. Quality food like Hypro Premium ensures sustained energy levels for efficient handling of livestock.
Hypro, that's the go. Hypro, that's the go. Get behind.
In the competitive sport of sheepdog trialling, dogs have to be on their game. So we feed them Aussie-made Hypro Premium. It gives them the right balanced nutrition to compete at every level.
Hypro, that's the go.
So next up to the peg now, we've got Bernard McGlashan coming up with McGlashan's Tuz. This is our equal joints points leader coming into the final top 20 today with a score of 95 in the first round. Judge's flag is up to release these sheep, and they're just making their way out into the ground now. Sheep are in position, and the judge is giving his signal to begin. So Tuz has come on a right-hand cast now, and he's out pretty wide. He's going to come out past the gap here now and make his way behind the sheep. The sheep have seen him early and have followed him out onto the right-hand side. So Tuz will just need to come across and check them and head them back up to the ground the right way. They continue to drift out towards the right. Just standing in front of the gap here now. And again, Tuz is going to have to cover them on this side, just to get them straightened up. Quick little correction on the other side now, and it's a good chance for Tuz to bring these straight up the ground. You see the sheep continuing to wait down this right hand side, and Taz is having to cover to bring them on course. So there'll be a few points coming off here as Bernard just works to get these sheep on course and working in the right direction towards the peg. You're in a great position now, but haven't really had a chance to make a lot of good contact with these sheep to settle them, so he'll be looking for a chance to do that in these next few minutes, and just to get this dog in touch with these sheep and able to really exercise some control and some authority over them. And we're around the peg now. We've gone fairly deep against the fence, so they're still holding up against the fence here, and Taz is having to just pull them off. And again, you see Taz still struggling to really gain control over this sheep as they're moving around fairly lightly today, at least in the early parts of the trial. So Bernard just taking a chance here. He could begin his walk to the gap, but he's been taking an opportunity to work these sheep down a little bit and get a little bit of control over them. So the sheep are about probably 8 metres off course now, and Taz will be looking to just bring those back into the corridor, as well as to hold them when they get back the other side. And nice wide arc there from Taz has been able to achieve that. And see again that one in front puts his head up and starts looking for an exit. Taz has been able to preempt it and close that door. Looking the other way now, and they've just kind of snuck out of the corridor on this far side. But again, that one in the front's just not happy. He's looking for a way out of things, and Taz is having to work hard to hold him in there. He'll have to go again, just to cover on the inside. Certainly far from settled out there. So we're approaching the peg now, and Bernard's about to take his position inside the set. Again, we've still got our leader looking for a way out. The head's moving around constantly, just trying to find a way to get away, but so far Taz has been pretty effective in holding him in place and keeping him fairly close to being on course. Taz is just working inside of the ground now, just trying to close the opportunity for the sheep to try and look for an escape in there and get them a chance to look down the middle of the gap. And now he's brought Taz back around to the other side. You can see the sheep starting to look towards the gap and starting to notice where the possible exit might be. So Bernard's just asked Taz to take a seat for a minute, and be a good opportunity now as things are settled down in front of the gap, and all the exits seem to be pretty closed for the sheep, just to let them sit, to let things relax a bit, and just to get things back under control a little. One's led its way through the race, through the gap now, and Taz is quickly cover on the outside and begin to set these sheep up for the race. Still plenty of energy in this little mob of sheep, and their heads are looking around constantly for a way out of things, but Taz has been good again to hold them in. Got a couple with their heads down to graze now, and that's a good sign. Bernard to be happy to see that as these sheep just step off nicely there. And after that bit of energy at the beginning, I think Bernard will be happy with that little gentle walk off there for a few moments after the gap. Bit of work to do to bring them back on the course now. They've taken a little trot to the inside of the course. Again, we've got a couple down to feed. So the energy's coming out of things just a little bit there now. So once Bernard starts his walk to the race, he has to keep a consistent speed, and you can see he's had to keep moving further ahead, so the sheep have been left behind just a little bit, and he'll be asking Tuz to move them up, which he has done now. But he'd be happy for that chance just to settle things down and just to get those sheep moving a little bit quieter and more gently than they have been so far today. So with the sheep just drifting down towards the race, leaning on the northern side of the corridor most of the way and leaning out towards where Tuz is now, he'll just need to apply a little bit of pressure now to bring them back in front of the mouth of the race. The sheep have been pretty good so far this morning at just looking down the race and getting on through without too many hassles. So if Tuz can just get them to move across just a little bit, he'll be hoping that one will lead its way through the race and they'll be able to get through there fairly easily, and that's exactly what's happened. So Tuz will collect them now from the end of the race. They'll begin their walk towards the bridge. Time's not an issue, they've got plenty of time left. It's still just over 7 minutes to go. So there'll be no rush at all from Bernard and Tuz here to get these sheep walking towards the bridge. Again, using it as a chance to settle these sheep down, put a bit more work onto them, just to keep things moving gently and calmly as possible. A little bit of a trot there to bring these sheep up to Bernard, and now they've got them in a good position to walk them up to the bridge calmly. They've come inside of the cones there now, so they'll have to bring them back on the course, but the sheep just walking up nicely now that they're back on course. And Tuz will just continue to apply a little bit of pressure to keep them moving towards the bridge as Bernard takes his place in the set. So they've had a look up the bridge now and they've seen the way forward. Tuz will just apply a little bit of pressure now and hopefully turn those heads back up the bridge where they were looking before and get a leader to take them over. So with two heads down grazing right now, Tuz will just create a little bit of movement to try and get the sheep back up and looking again. He's been able to roll them around beautifully there and up and over the bridge. Some fantastic work from Tuz. So with the sheep now over the bridge, they'll be making their way to the pen. Bernard electing just to leave those sheep sitting there at the end of the bridge there for a little bit and just to move Tuz around to create a little bit of movement to get some forward momentum going there rather than throwing his dog around the outside and giving him a bump. Sheep have just drawn inside of the onto the inside of the corridor now, which they've had a tendency to do all trial, and you can see Tuz now just covering that inside line. Again, the sheep drawing inside into the middle of the oval. Again, you see Tuz up to the task and holding those sheep up and just preparing them to go back into the corridor. Still plenty of time here for Bernard and Tuz to get these sheep put away. Just over 4 minutes left for them. Just be a matter of getting them calmly set in front of this pen and having a go at poking them in. We've seen a few dramas at the pen this morning. It's been hasn't been an easy day putting these sheep in. Seen a few that just couldn't get it done, and we've seen a few that ended up with a bit of a challenge with the sheep and a bit of a bite. But we'll see how Tuz goes here today. So the sheep are in a nice position now. They're not too stressed. The heads are down and they're having a bit of a feed. So Tuz just looking to put a little bit of pressure on, and certainly not too much at once. Bernard just asked Tuz to take one step in this way and now another, just to create a gentle little movement, gentle roll. And there he's got that little roll happening now. Tuz will move across to cover that far side. Sheep are now looking in the obstacle. One's turned around to have a bit of a look. Is there a final way to get out of this? Bit of a standoff now. He's not keen. Feet are stamping. Bernard asking Tuz just to hold his ground now. One little step in. Just a little turn. The sheep's gone around. Sheep are in the back of the pen now. So Bernard will be looking to just settle these down. Just wait for the sheep to be relaxed, and out he steps. Picks up the gate and round he goes. Well done Bernard, well done Tuz. What a fantastic run in the Hypro Supreme Australian Championship Top 20. So we have a score in for Bernard McGlashan and McGlashan's Tuz with a score of 77. And if you're following along with the live scores, which you can find on the link on Facebook, you'll have already known that. Coming up next to the peg, we have Mr. Paul O'Kane from Victoria working his dog, MGH Billabong Creek. Paul's a very experienced sheepdog handler, and he's had some great success over the years representing Australia and winning some major titles. And the sheep are just coming out now. big shout out to all the volunteers who have been releasing the sheep over these last few days. It's been fantastic releases, really consistent, great job all round. So with time on now, Billabong Creek has come on a right hand cast, coming out this side of the gap and taking up position behind the sheep. Really nice deep delivery there, and put Billabong Creek in a great position to lift these sheep. Had to have a little correction there, perhaps just a fraction short. And the sheep are now headed towards the worker, and the draw has begun. So now they'll be looking to bring those sheep up the ground as smoothly and as straight as possible. So far, Billabong Creek's been able to keep these sheep walking in a nice straight line at a great little trot up the ground. There's no real panic out there at the moment, and it's a pretty good start. Couple of fine little movements there from Billabong Creek just to create a little bit of movement, keep those sheep going forward, as well as bumping them back onto the right hand side of the worker, sorry, the left hand side of the worker, to be able to work the peg. We've got to go around the peg in an anti-clockwise direction, and Billabong Creek's been able to do that now. Sheep have just come out past the marker, so the dogs just had to come out and cover them and set them up for the walk to the gap. Sitting nicely inside the corridor now as Paul begins his walk. And again, as we've seen throughout this trial, the sheep tend to draw to the inside of this corridor, and you can see that they've begun to do so now, and so Paul has brought his dog onto the inside. I think she might have been able to cover them enough that time to keep them on course. Paul will be just looking to bump them across a little bit so that they're outside of his walking path there, and he's been able to get through them without upsetting the sheep too much. And again, the sheep drawing into the inside of this corridor, so Billabong Creek's had to come across to cover them and get them back onto course. You can see even at this early stage of the trial, we've got all three heads down now, just having a feed, and just don't seem to be too fussed about this dog, and at least happy enough to stop for a moment and grab a quick something to eat while they're walking around this course. And as Paul takes his place in the set now, they'll just be looking to set these sheep up in front of the obstacle and give them a chance to look and find the gap. This dog's able to work nice and close to these sheep now and just bounce around a little bit to continue to settle them, get them used to the idea that the dog's out there and that it's able to cover them, but not interested in giving them too much of a hard time. And with one just set in front of the gap now, Paul will bring the dog around and just poke them through. There goes the first one now, second one, third one. And they're through. Paul elects to bring the dog onto the inside there to retrieve these sheep from the end of the gap and set these sheep up for the walk to the race. So the sheep have been leaning heavily towards the right hand of screen now on this walk across to the race, but you can see in this particular run they're sitting there on Paul's left hand side, so they're in a great position now to be able to deliver them right up the middle of the corridor. These sheep look to be nicely settled now, and Paul's able to just keep them bubbling along at a really good speed. Just having to come and quickly cover out this side, but that was no major drama, and Billabong Creek was able to get there fairly quickly. And unfortunately the sheep had just come on the inside now and had a little trot up the ground, so Paul will just need to bring those sheep back on the course and just give him a chance now to settle in front of the obstacle while he makes his way up to his set by the race. And now with all that negotiated, they're in a good position as Paul takes his spot in the set. Just a couple more metres to go and they'll be able to work this bridge, race. Bit of a challenge here. This one at the back's just looking at Billabong Creek and just trying to decide between going through the race and making a quick break for it onto this northern fence. We know that they want to draw back to where they've come from, so Billabong Creek was good enough there just to apply a little bit of pressure and get them through the race, as well as to keep 1 foot ready to cover any breakaway there. So through the obstacle, and they're on their way to the bridge. A little bit of a tour onto the inside of the course now, so they'll be looking to get these sheep back inside of the corridor and onto the course. But at the same time, they certainly don't want to do anything to disrupt the nice flow they've got in these sheep at the moment. So just to keep them bubbling along gently without doing any real damage. A little bit of fine movement there from Billabong Creek just to create a little bit of motion in these sheep. They've got a bit of a trot up. They stayed on course though, so all is well. And as they approach the bridge, they'll be looking to just get these sheep right into the middle of the corridor and looking the right way. So far, these sheep haven't asked too many questions, and Dog's been up to the task. Just in that one occasion where they've had a little challenge in front of the race, and she's been able to keep them turned the right way and keep them moving forwards. And again, just that little bit of fine movement left and right is enough to create some movement. So sheep have had a chance to look up the bridge now. One has just turned around to have a look, but we've got one that's right on the steps of the bridge now. So we'll be looking for that one to lead through. Paul will be hoping it heads up pretty shortly and takes the other two over the top. They're on great time so far. This has been a nice steady trial so far without any major dramas. Haven't really been held up anywhere. Still just over 6.5 minutes on the clock, so there's plenty of time here for Paul to take it nice and easy. But he's got 3 sheep looking the wrong way right now, and he's got one at the back that's looking for a way out, one that's sitting on the steps of the bridge ready to go. If he can get that one to turn around, he'll lead the others over the top, but he'll need to do that while hanging on to this one at the back that's looking for a way out. Just applying a few little steps of pressure now. Paul will be just asking that dog to take a little step across and in, just to hopefully turn that head around. Back the other way, again just trying to get a bit of a roll in that sheep at the back to get him to turn his head and look up the ramp. Oh, and a little bit of a dive. So far it's brought the sheep out of the mouth just a little bit, but it's enough to get a bit of movement, a bit of a turn. Sheep is now looking up the ramp and hopefully, he's broken out wide again. But Billabong Creek good enough to hold him. convinced him that he can't get away, and up the ramp he goes and over the bridge. So after that little moment, Paul will be looking to just get these sheep settled again and away from the end of this bridge. It's a tricky situation when these sheep are up against the side of an obstacle, so he'll be looking to get those sheep away from there as soon as he can, because the further the worker gets from the sheep, the harder it is to move them in that sort of a situation. But they've come free now, and they'll be able to begin working this corridor towards the pen. So all three sheep having a feed there now as Billabong Creek comes around just to give them a little bit of a nudge up the course. You notice that she's quick to cover this inside corridor now, because we've seen the sheep have a tendency to draw this way. So Billabong Creek just coming in the other side now, just to give them a little bit of pressure to keep them moving up through the course. Again, quick to cover the inside, because these sheep are always looking for a run back to their mates at the release. So they're always tending to draw up this side of the ground, and as Paul walks past those sheep there, they have a little bit of movement just from reacting to his pressure, and now he'll be able to set them up for an attempt on the pen. So with those sheep drifting across the front of the obstacle, Billabong Creek's been able to come on the clockwise side to cover those without bumping them past the edge of the obstacle. So been able to now get them in a position where she should be able to create a little bit of a roll and turn those sheep around and face them into the opening of the pen. There goes one. Just a little bit of a roll that they need, but he's turned back around and now looking at the dog again. Got one that's just inside the pen now, and now all heads are facing around and have seen the opening of the pen. Just quick cover out this side. Again, it's that one that is just looking to see if there's a way out of things here. But so far, Billabong Creek's been able to cover him well. Just a little step to this side just to convince him that that way is not an option, and now a step to the other side to convince him that way is not an option. And now hopefully with all those doors closed, the sheep will turn around and have a look inside the pen. Still facing out towards the dog now and just having a think about any alternate routes out of here. And Paul's just asking his dog to put a little bit more pressure on to force them back into the pen. I think he's got two of them clear now. It's just really the nose of this last one that he needs to get clear of the pen. It's just turning slightly, just about to give up. Just a little bit more pressure now from Paul and Billabong Creek, and that's now got them clear of the pen. The judge has signalled that they're clear. So Paul will be just wanting them to settle into the back of the pen here before he steps out of the ring. Once he steps out of the ring, he has to keep moving now. He can't stop at all, and if those sheep happen to move out, he has to get them back in while he's shutting the gate. But no major troubles here, and he's been able to shut that gate well. Fantastic run from Paul and Billabong Creek. So coming up to the peg now, we have Ken Atherton with Ramaland Charlie. Ken Atherton's from Western Australia, and this is the dog that he represented the state with in the Trans-Tasman series back earlier in the week. Judge has given his signal to release the sheep, and they're on their way out now. It's cold and blustery conditions here at the start of this trial for Charlie. But at the moment, we're rain-free, so Charlie's come out on a left-hand cast. Sheep have just noticed him coming out down the left-hand side, and Charlie runs wide and deep, and he's taken up his position about 30 metres back from the sheep. Sheep aren't too fussed at this stage. They've turned around and noticed him there, but they're just keeping on moving up towards the worker. So just drifting off on the left-hand side of the ground now, on the western side. Charlie's just had to drift across to cover them and keep them moving in a straight line towards the worker. This dog working from a fair distance away at this point of the trial, and he has a lot of influence over these sheep from a long way away, so he's able to steer these sheep as opposed to push them up the ground as some of the other dogs have had to do. So Charlie just starting to come in now and apply a little bit of pressure to these sheep. And again, just having to take a few more steps in. They haven't responded yet, so he'll be able to just apply a bit of gentle pressure and keep these sheep moving towards the worker. But also it's a good opportunity to let them have a good look at the dog now, and just to start to relax and to get used to the dog being out there. A little bit of a bust up there, but Charlie was quick to cover, as the sheep just had enough of the pressure he had on them just for a minute. First few drops of rain coming in now for this run. So it's a pretty tidy start for Charlie and for Ken as they go around the peg. And Charlie's just having to cover nice and wide here as his sheep draw back up the ground, as they tend to do throughout this trial. They draw up the ground and back towards the middle and inside of this corridor. But Charlie's been able to get out nice and wide and hold them up. So they're about 30 metres out in front of where Ken is walking now. And Ken will just be hoping for Charlie to hold them there in that position while he catches back up again and resets those sheep back inside the corridor, ready to work the gap. So Ken's made his way up level with the sheep now, and as you can see, as he comes up past the sheep, Charlie begins to come around on the anti-clockwise flank to just turn those sheep up the corridor. Ken's just asking Charlie to hold that inside line. And Charlie's just applying a little bit of pressure there to keep those sheep moving there and get them back on course. So the sheep just drifted across the corridor there, but Charlie was quick to respond and to cover them. And again, one takes a bit of a trot up the ground, and Charlie's had to come back on the inside to cover him. So he's still not entirely settled out there at this stage of the trial. And Ken and Charlie will be definitely looking to try and get things settled back down as quickly as they possibly can. Sheep have just gone through the gap the wrong way, and hopefully that means that they know where the gap is now, and they'll be looking for that next time he brings them up close to the obstacle. So they're now in a good position now. The sheep are now looking towards the gap. Charlie's in a great position to be able to cover them if they make any breakaways, and we're now starting to see one put his head down to have a bit of a feed. So hopefully that's a sign of things just calming down and relaxing out there. And they're through the gap, and Ken's elected to bring Charlie round on the inside of the course to cover these sheep. So with plenty of time still on their hands and through the gap, they're just going to take a moment to settle these sheep and get them walking nicely towards the race. Up the corridor they go, but just drifting on the inside now. Again, Charlie having to work wide to hold these sheep without putting too much pressure on them and busting them up. And again, they've made a little break up the ground, up the corridor. And again, Charlie having to cover them wide. He's been able to hold them just about on the edge of that corridor as he's come around that arc. But again, they're in front of Ken, so Ken's just having to hold Charlie there while he catches back up to these sheep again, and then settles these sheep in front of the race. Sheep now heading towards the race with a bit of a burst, and they've tried to run past. We've got 1, 2, 3 through, and I think they've all gone through. Ken will have to rework that obstacle because he wasn't quite in the set before the sheep cleared the obstacle. So these sheep just a little bit towy this morning, and Charlie's having to work fairly hard just to hold on to them and keep them from those keep them from making those little breakaways. Got them in a good position to roll them around now, and we know they can go through the race, and they go through the race now for the second time. Charlie's quick to cover on the outside edge, and Ken's begun his walk straight away to the bridge. And again, the sheep have just made a little dart up the corridor to try and get away from Charlie, and Charlie's had to run wide to cover them once more. They're just sitting outside of the corridor now on the western side of the ground. They're about level with Ken down the walkway, but he'll be wanting to bring them back and keep them on course as quickly as he can. Still just drifting a little bit down the western side. The sheep have held up now in front of the obstacle, and Ken's had a chance to get himself into the set and begin to try and work these sheep up and over the bridge. Sheep all facing the right way here, and Charlie will be just looking for a little bit of pressure now to get these sheep moving over the bridge. 1, 2, 3, up they go, and over the edge. And Charlie's gone out on a outside flank to turn them back. And Ken's begun his walk straight away again to the pen. They've got about 6.5 minutes. There's no real rush out there now. Ken's just asking the dog to come in close and hold them tighter on that line. Just perhaps just a little bit wide and let them drift out to the inside of the course. But Charlie's been able to turn them back into the corridor now and stop that break, and Ken's now in position to be able to work these sheep nicely towards the pen. But again, these sheep don't want to walk real nicely. They've gone for another little breakaway, and Charlie's had to cover again to the inside. These sheep are certainly far from settled out there this morning, and it's taking a fair bit of work to keep these sheep on course at times. Charlie just went the wrong way, I think there. Ken wanted him to go the other way, but we're in position now. So Ken's taken his position in the set, and Charlie's now in a good position to be able to apply a little bit of pressure to these before rolling them around. Just be a matter of getting there quick enough. A little bit of a hesitation there from Charlie to make that flank. And let's let the sheep just come wide of the obstacle now and on the inside. So a little bit of work now to get these sheep in position but settled in front of that obstacle. Again, you see Charlie having to work nice and wide away from these sheep. They're just a little unsettled, and he has a lot of presence as a dog. It does make it harder to cover when they're going past the obstacle. So Ken will be looking just to take the run out of these sheep. Oh, and beautifully turned around there. The sheep are gone in, not happy though, and they're just having a think about coming back out. Charlie's quick to cover that little move. Turn around and away they go outside the obstacle again. So a bit of work now to reset things. This sheep has completely rejected this idea of going into the pen, and Charlie's got a big job now to bring these sheep back on course. Can't see them on camera now. They're hard up against the fence, and Charlie's having to work hard just to get this one lead sheep now back under control. So we're just waiting for them to come out from behind, from underneath the stand here where we can't see them. They're up against the fence now on the far side up where the judge is standing. So there's still a lot of work now to do to get these sheep settled back down in front of the obstacle and ready to have another attempt at shutting them in. But past they go again. There's not much stopping that one at the moment. He's determined to get away. Charlie is doing a great job to hold on to him as well as he is, but it's been a tough couple of minutes. Still plenty of time on the clock if Ken can get them settled down here now at the back of this pen. Get a little bit of pressure on them from the dog. But again, they've made another little break and run back into the open, so it's pretty tricky for Charlie to cover them when they're out this far. So they're settled now in front of the pen, but Charlie's just going to be wanting to apply a tiniest bit of pressure here. These sheep have shown us that they don't want to go into the back of that pen today. Just step by step applying more pressure. Always ready to cover any breakaways. And he's put them in. We've had them in once already. Can he hold them in this time? Ken's left his set. He's determined to get that gate shut. And round he goes and shuts the gate. Fantastic effort. Takes a lot of work to get them back into the pen once you've already had them there once. So brilliant effort from Charlie and Ken. Well done. A little bit of frustration perhaps from Ken there now, but fantastic effort to get them put away. So next up to the peg we have Mick Hudson working MGH Rabbit. Judge has given signal and time has begun. Sheep are in position and Rabbit's going out in a left-hand cast. Beautiful wide cast from Rabbit. Sheep have started to draw onto the left-hand side of the ground, but they've now seen Rabbit and just pulled up a minute. So with all three sheep facing towards Rabbit, Rabbit's in a great position now just to hold that point of balance. And just gently apply a little bit of pressure to head them back towards Mick at the other end of the ground. See that first movement was forward, so that's exactly what Rabbit and Mick would be looking for there. And again, that first movement directly up the ground. So it means Rabbit's in a good position now, really holding that point of balance. Rabbit just allowing things to settle there now before applying a little bit of pressure. We've seen some outstanding runs from this dog over the course of the last week, and just able to sense just the right amount of pressure to apply these sheep to get them moving without busting them up. And we see that again now today. So again, Rabbit just taking a few steps forward to apply a little bit of pressure and keep the sheep drawing up the ground towards Mick. It's getting quite blustery here now at the ground, and you can see the flags really flapping around in the breeze, and trees are moving fairly well, but there's no rain at this stage. Even the sun's out just a little bit. So far this has been a great start from Mick and Rabbit. Sheep have mostly just stood around, and as Rabbit's applied a little bit of pressure, they've just bubbled up the ground nicely, and even on that occasion they drew a little bit towards the inside of the ground, but Rabbit was quick to come across and put them back on course and keep them moving gently up the ground. The sheep are very relaxed out there now, all three of them down feeding. Again, Rabbit just applying 1 step, 2 steps, just the odd little bit of pressure here and there, just enough to keep that movement going and without bursting the bubble. So just approaching now the peg, not too far away now from having the worker in the scene as well and able to influence things just a little bit. So they're just outside of the 9 metre marker on the edge of the peg there, so judges might decide she's just a fraction wide, but still in a very good position and been a wonderful draw so far up the ground. Again, it's just that 1 step, 2 steps of pressure applied to those sheep, and as they've made their break around past the worker now around the peg, Rabbit was quick to respond and come on the inside of the ground to cover that little run. And now they're just looking to settle these sheep in front of the peg here inside the corridor, ready to begin their walk towards the gap. So the sheep just facing Rabbit now just for a minute and just asking a few questions about whether she's got the strength to move them, and so far Rabbit's been strong so far and just held her head up and continued to take those 1 steps in. as those sheep do a little test run up the field just to see if they can escape the dog. Rabbit's quick to cover again, and the sheep have gone back to feeding. Been a lovely start to this trial. Rabbit's just been able to settle these sheep right from the outset and keep them moving without asking too many questions. A little bit of a dart to the inside of the course, as these sheep tend to do at this ground. But Rabbit's there to cover them, perhaps just 1 point lost as they went outside the corridor. They're right on the edge of this other corridor, but I think Rabbit's been able to keep them on course. And they're now in a good position facing towards the gap to be able to work the gap once Mick takes his spot in the set. Just asking Rabbit to come around now and apply a little bit of force to the back. Now that he's in front of the sheep, he doesn't need to be in front to hold them up anymore. So things are settled nicely here with the sheep in front of the gap. A little bit of movement there from Rabbit to put them through, and through they go. Rabbit quick to come out and cover them on this outside of the corridor towards the race. That's been a tricky one to hold so far. The sheep are pretty determined to push up against that corridor, and as she come round, Rabbit took a little skid on the grass, but quick to gain her feet and in a great position now just to apply a little bit of pressure to keep those sheep moving up the ground. Just milling about a little bit as they begin their walk towards the race. This is a good sign for these sheep to be moving around like that. It means they're starting to settle. So far moving up this corridor really nicely. Rabbit's just coming back in behind them to bump them along a little bit, but also quick to cover out on the far side. And there we go again, she's out and covered the head and just keeps them walking along. Back inside to give them a little bump again. And again, quick out to cover on that head just to keep them on track. Been a lovely little carry so far. They're almost made their way up to the race now, and they've gone down this corridor pretty much right down the middle the entire way. It's been a fantastic carry there from Mick and Rabbit. Got these sheep walking beautifully. And in a great position now to have a look up and walk down that race. Mick's in his set, so he'll be looking to just create a little bit of movement now towards the race. Get all three sheep looking down the race, and through they go. Tiniest little bit of pressure there from Rabbit to make sure that the last one is through. And really well worked. A little bit of a breakaway now. Rabbit's going to have to go and grab them at the end of this race and keep them on course. Nick's elected to bring her onto the inside of that corridor. Which seems to be the right call, because the sheep have drawn back into the middle of the ground and Rabbit was there to hold them. Now that Mick's been able to walk past them, he's asked Rabbit to go and cover the other side. Having a little bit of a break down there. Might have snuck outside the corridor, but Rabbit was quick to cover and also in a great position to just come and cover the inside after they've moved across the corridor. Really good bit of stock sense there from Mick to hold them up. And a lot of people would have sent the dog right around on the outside there to cover those sheep, but Mick knew that they were going to pull up, and Rabbit was happy to just hold off and watch the sheep and see where they went next. And sure enough, they drifted back to the inside and Rabbit was in position to cover them. So, set up beautifully in front of the bridge here now, and I think Mick's been able to catch the rain every time he's been out there this morning as the first few raindrops come onto the shed now where I'm sitting. So, looks to be a fairly substantial shower of rain headed towards us now. Rabbit's just looking to apply a little bit of pressure now to these sheep and put them up over the bridge. She's got all sheep facing towards her now, but she's been able to get them to roll around a few times, and hopefully she'll be able to get them to just roll around again and have a look up that bridge. Still, so far, they haven't really challenged Rabbit. She's been able to put just the right amount of pressure on to convince them to keep moving, and she's been able to just do that again to apply a little bit of pressure and create some movement towards this side. Sheep just looking across the mouth of the obstacle now, so Rabbit's just having to be ready to cover that side as well as to apply a little bit of pressure. Still plenty of time for them to complete the course, about 4.5 minutes still to go. Got 2 sheep facing up the obstacle now. It's just a matter of turning that last head, and if she can get that done, I think they'll go. One sheep just turning around and stomping a foot now, so she's got a couple facing towards her. A little bit of a nervous moment. Another one breaks out, but Rabbit's quick to cover. Great cover in this dog. She's just so quick to pick up any of those little breakaways and shut them down. She's been able to hold that pressure in even with those breakaways. It's fantastic strength in this little dog. So, she's going to need that strength now. I think the sheep are just drawing onto her just a minute. She's able to create a little bit of movement to get them to look back up the bridge, and as the wind comes in harder and the rain starts to pour again now, the sheep have turned around and over they go. So Rabbit coming onto the inside to cover these sheep now and pick them up ready for the carry to the pen. So far it's been a fantastic run from Rabbit, and some beautiful work to watch. So Mick and Rabbit now on their walk to the pen. Sheep might just be outside of the corridor on the far side. It's hard to tell from here. So Rabbit's just gone around there to bring them back on course. And as the weather turns pretty nasty here just for these last few minutes of this trial, Mick and Rabbit are still just keeping things moving along nicely. Perhaps there might be a little bit of life in these sheep now that the wind has picked up. A bit of a test for Rabbit just on this carry, but so far she's handled it well. So sheep in a great position in the middle of the corridor as they approach the pen now. Mick's just making his way past, and no reaction from the sheep as he's done so, so he can take his spot in the set and just look to bring those sheep gently up. The weight's still on the inside of the course here, so Rabbit's just sitting on this side, applying a little bit of pressure. Little movement around the side to try and turn some heads. So far the sheep all facing up to her and backing step by step back towards the mouth of the pen. A little bit of a breakaway there, but Rabbit's quick to cover and point them back in towards the pen. And now she's got them set nicely in front of the pen, but all 3 sheep facing the wrong way as the wind comes in harder and harder and the rain starts to fall. So just on a minute to go now. Still plenty of time if things go well. And they'll be looking to just apply just gentle pressure step by step to get this gate closed. I think they're through and think they're clear of the obstacle now. And Mick leaves the set, picks up the gate, and round they go. Fantastic run. What a brilliant run. Well done to Mick and well done to Rabbit.